Fani Willis now mocking Congress. Remember, Jim Jordan sent a letter to Fani some time ago that we covered here. We'll refresh our recollection on it. But he said, hey, Fani, it looks like you got some federal government money for COVID, and we're concerned about where that money went because it seems like it may have gone into your boyfriend's pocket. Maybe you paid him some of that money when you guys were lounging around on the cruises, floating around in Belize. So he sent this warning over to her saying, all right, Fani, listen, you better get us some records here. Okay, we're Congress. We're very important people. We are serious people, and we mean what we say, and we do stuff that's of consequence. And that's why we're called representative and honorable and all the stuff. So Jordan sent a letter. Now, Fani responded to this letter, and she, I don't think, takes Congress very seriously. She's not too concerned with his warning. She's kind of laughing at Jim Jordan. Okay, Jim, what are you going to do about it, Jimbo? All right, so here's what Jim said to Fani some time ago. It was a short letter. This is one of many that have gone over to Fani, and we covered it here. You can see the red lines. Let's hit the highlights just briefly. Sent back on March 14th to the Honorable Fani Willis, Fulton County, from the Committee on the Judiciary, right? This is Jim Jordan, supposed to be like a big, powerful committee. What? So they say the Committee on the Judiciary is continuing its investigation and oversight. Specifically, apparently Fulton County got money got federal funds. And so we want those documents. Now, back some time ago, after Congress sent the letter, Fani responded on February 23rd, and Fani said back to Congress with a letter. And you smeared, Fani, a former employee of yours who spoke out about your federal grant funds, right? Because they have a whistleblower in Congress. And she's like, your whistleblower is a loser and a liar. I'm like, whoa. Relax, Big Fani. So Congress said, we're not going to dignify your attacks on this brave whistleblower and your continued attempts to distract from your conduct, Fani, through misdirection and personal insults. So Congress is better than that. We're not going to listen to you. Now, the allegations in the public realm about your misuse of federal grant funding are concerning, and the committee has an obligation to examine them. And so we appreciate that you've produced some documents, a narrow set, but compliance with our subpoena is deficient. Oh yeah? What are you going to do, Congress? Attached to your letter were various documents, a number of which were previously produced. And then you gave us, right, Fani gave 15 award letters. So she took all of her little stupid things off her refrigerator. You know, they were all on there. Nathan Wade, every time she had one of those dumb meetings, like we saw it in her calendar, she had one of those meetings, like it was at 1:30, you know, Children's Victims Organization. Like Fani shows up, they're like, we love you, Big Fani, here's a certificate. And then she takes it home, she shows it to Nathan Wade, she's like, you did great, baby, you love you, honey. So here, you know what we're gonna do with this, Fani? She's like, what? We're gonna put it on the refrigerator right next to your other one. She's like, yeah, and then we're gonna have some ice cream. So they put it up there, and then she pops out the Grey Goose, and then they get Hibbity on the kitchen table because he never laid her head anywhere. Anyways, all right. So back to the filing. 15 award letters, right? So Fani pulled them all off the refrigerator and said, here, Congress, look, I got 15 gold stars from the Office of Justice Programs. All right, great. And the Office of Violence Against Women. Missing a word, I think. Anyways. Approximately 27 screenshots of budget summaries, but you failed to give us any of the good stuff. All documents and communications referring or relating to the misuse of federal funds. We didn't get those, okay? All documents about the OVW components, all communications, all proposals, everything, okay? You get the picture. And so we sent a subpoena to you. And you responded to us insulting our whistleblower, and your letter also requests that the committee, quote, engage with the DOJ and get documents from them. But you have a legal obligation to comply with our subpoena. So they're reminding her for like the 5th time. Okay. Now, in addition to your letter, you noted a preliminary objection. You said these requests, Congress, Jim, are overbroad and unduly burdensome. And we say, Jim says, no, we disagree. To the contrary, we have shown restraint. We only seek 2 documents, and we're prioritizing certain documents to you. And so, Fani, you have We have not had this since for 3 weeks. And so we expect you, Fani, that you are going to produce all responsive documents no later than March 28th at 12 o'clock noon, sharp. If you fail to do so, Big Fani, the committee will consider taking further action against you, including the invocation of contempt of Congress proceedings. Yeah, right. We'll see if they do that. Yeah, right. Sincerely, Jim Jordan, who I like. I think I like Jim Jordan, chairman of the Judiciary Committee. Okay, so that was sent, and we got a strict deadline there. Okay, March 28th, 12 noon, sharp. Don't be late, Fani. So guess what? Fani's not late. She responded in a letter, very short letter, and here is what she says to our Congress. She has total contempt and disdain for them. She writes back on March 25th. She says Representative Jim Jordan, which is very, very condescending. See, you see what Jim did? Jim Jordan at least called her honorable, which is a joke because she is a perjurer. But he called her honorable. Look at that right there. He said, Honorable Fani Willis. Jim Jordan, what a nice guy. Fani doesn't pay the same respect at all. Totally rude. Hey, Representative Jim. All right. Via electronic mail. She says, Dear Mr. Jordan. Surprised she didn't say, in parentheses, loser. She said, hey, Jim, I'm in receipt of your letter that you sent back in March 14th, the one that we just read. Says, I categorically reject the assertion that my office is deficient in responding to your subpoena. Now, as you note in your letter, we have already provided you with substantial information about our programs that are funded via federal grants. And further, Jim, as I expressed to you in my letter dated on February 23rd, this office is in the process of producing relevant documents to you on a rolling basis and is undertaking a good faith effort to provide you with responsive information about our federal grant funding. As part of that ongoing process, we are again today making a document production. So Fani is just slow rolling this, taking her sweet time on it. And we'll see what Jim says in response to this. But Fani continues. She says, Jim, your primary complaint appears to be that we did not complete our production of your, quote, extensive document demands, which is rich coming from government prosecutors who dump millions of documents on the defense, okay, including 5 categories of documents over a 4-year period. And you wanted to get us those documents in less than 2 months, which is hysterical, right? Because Fani wanted Trump's trial to go in a RICO case involving 19 co-defendants in less than a year, which is nuts. So she's now complaining about getting documents timely or not. Says that demand is unreasonable and uncustomary and would require this government, my office, says Fani, to divert resources from our primary purpose of prosecuting crime and sleeping with our employees and going on cruises. Let me be clear, says Fani, while we are abiding by your subpoena in good faith, so she's saying don't you dare start contempt proceedings, and we're abiding with due diligence, Fani continues, we will not divert resources that undermine our duty to the people of Fulton County to prosecute felonies committed in this jurisdiction. We will not shut down this office's efforts to prosecute crime, unless it's my crime, my perjury, including gang activity, acts of violence, and listen to how rich this is, public corruption. So they're going to continue investigating public corruption. They should start with themselves. To meet unreasonable deadlines, look at this one, in your politically motivated so-called, quote, investigation of this office. Jim, loser partisan hacks up in Congress. Amazing, right? The bravado. So how dare you, Jim, ask about federal funds. We know you're just deviating us from prosecuting Trump, and we're not going to be deviated from our mission. Now, as noted, says Fani, included with this correspondence are additional documents responsive to your subpoena. So here's a couple of your files. including documents that are responsive to the priority categories that you identified in your letter. And we'll make another production in the coming weeks. So Fani's setting the timetable, right? Here's some little bit more. We'll give you a couple more pieces of paper, and then we'll give you some more later. And even though you said that we needed it all by the 28th, you'll get it after the 28th, right? That's a violation of the subpoena demand. Now, however, says Fani, she's going to give a big warning to Jim. Hopefully he's listening, and hopefully they do something about it. However, Fani warns Congress, let me again state this clearly, Jim. Nothing that you do will derail the efforts of my staff and I to bring the election interference prosecution to trial so that a jury of Fulton County citizens can determine the guilt or innocence of the defendants. And my family and my staff and I have been threatened repeatedly by people making violent, often racist attacks. Neither those threats nor anything that you, Jim, and your disgusting colleagues, nothing that you say or do will deter us from fulfilling our duty to bring this case to trial. Yours in service, especially room service, Fani Willis, DA from Atlanta Judicial Circuit. Back over to Congress. Whoa! So Jim, she is calling you out, brother. She's saying that you're attacking her with often racist, violent attacks, or your fake investigation is enabling other people to go out there and criticize her that's leading to racist, violent attacks, and that you are doing this to impede and interfere with the lawful administration of justice in Fulton County. Jim? And so she's just going to keep on going, and she's a victim, right? Fani's a victim. And Congress is now politicized against her. Not her prosecution is politicized against the country and against Trump and 19 other innocent co-defendants. It is instead the Fani show, and she is very, very oppressed yet again. So Fani Willis responds to Jim Jordan. We'll see what Jim Jordan says in response to this. This was former Attorney General from Florida. Her name is Pam Bondi, and she had some thoughts on what's happening with Trump and these cases. Of course, Florida right around the corner from Georgia.
We're seeing Trump's poll numbers go up and up and up as the lawfare ramps up and up and up. Americans flocking to Trump's banner. You think the American people understand that what's happening to him is patently unfair, and that's why his numbers continue not to suffer but actually increase?
Certainly the American people see it, and the more they do to President Trump, the more they see it. It's horrible what they're doing to him, what they're trying to do to him. They won't be successful. Chris, I can tell you in a court of law, all of these cases will ultimately be reversed. But sure, the American people see it, and especially New Yorkers now, and these big businesses even see it. If they can do this to Donald Trump, they can do it to anyone. And yeah, that Judge Engoron is horrible. He's been reversed at least 5 times during the course of this civil trial. And now, at least the 5th time, the appellate court just reversed him and dramatically reduced that number that President Trump has to pay. And you were right. It's absurd, the number that they wanted him to pay. It's still absurd because ultimately he won't have to pay anything. This case will get reversed. It's a witch hunt by Letitia James. And we say that because she campaigned on getting Donald Trump. And that's not what a prosecutor should do. She has a clear conflict, not even an apparent conflict. So she has to really get her act in order. She's not, though. She's going to keep going after him, but it's not going to make a difference because ultimately our justice system prevails, and that's why we have appellate courts. But it's going to take a while.
No doubt about it. It is going to take a while. And of course, we're going to be here continuing to cover it. So that's Pam Bondi. And she's an AG saying that all of these prosecutions, of course, are, being misapplied to Trump. It's a miscarriage of justice. And it is a shame that they are so afraid of him winning that they're willing to wreck the very institutions of our country in order to stop him from doing so. And so we're going to be here covering all of the Fani news, all of the future proceedings, all of the future filings, and everything else that's happening related to the Trump prosecutions we're covering. We'd love it if you joined us as we do. Thank you for subscribing. Thank you for hitting the like button. And we appreciate it when you invite a friend or family member to come on over here. and join us as we go through all of these filings and more. We got some great links down in the description below. Come check us out, our members-only community, watchingthewatchers.locals.com, where we do streams in the morning, Saturday streams. We'd love to have you there as well, and back here on the next one.